Known for her striking eyes and powerful stage presence, Barbara Steele began her career in the late 1950s with small roles in forgotten films. It was in 1960 that she was given the chance to work in Hollywood alongside Elvis Presley in the western Flaming Star for 20th Century Fox. She was quickly replaced with Barbara Eden due to Steele's thick British accent and later quit the production. Barbara would leave Hollywood for Italy that same year and begin making a name for herself.
Horror, anguish, and terror.
Barbara Steele's breakout role was in Mario Bava's Black Sunday, a loose adaptation of Nikolai Gogol's short story V. Black Sunday tells the story of a witch put to death by her brother, only to return 200 years later to seek revenge on his descendants. Barbara played the vampiric witch Princess Asavida in the innocent reincarnation Katya. Black Sunday capitalized on all of Barbara's strengths that made her a dominating, seductive lead. While the film itself wasn't received well in its home country, the film grew its success in France and in the United States.
This was my father's world, Mr. Barnett.
The following year, Roger Corman cast the Scream Queen in The Pit and the Pendulum, alongside Vincent Price. Barbara would have little screen time in this American feature, but she made up for it with her performance.
I'm going to make you suffer for your faithlessness to me.
Taunting Price's Nicholas Medina until driven mad, our beloved Barbara meets her end in An Iron Maiden. Poor Barbara. Can't catch a break with those things. Ricardo Frida's 1962 The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock would see Barbara playing opposite her usual villainous roles. She weds a necrophiliac doctor whose first wife dies under mysterious circumstances, and who might be returning from the grave to torment her successor. Barbara would return a year later with Frida for The Ghost, wedded once more to a Dr. Hitchcock. Both films have no continuity with one another. Three years into her career as a Scream Queen, Barbara was looking to expand her horizons as an actress, refusing to be typecast as only a horror starlet. She had expected to work with famed Italian director Federico Fellini when she arrived in Italy back in 1960. In 1962, she answered an open casting call and won the small role of Gloria Morin in 8 1/2. Fellini expected to use more of Steele in his film, but she was already contractually obligated for The Horrible Dr. Hitchcock. Fellini's film wouldn't be released until the following year. Later in her career, when Barbara was cast in lesser roles in independent features, she would tell the directors, "I worked with some of the best directors in the world. I've worked with Fellini." By then, Steele was back to making horror pictures. She would play the lead or supporting roles in such films as Castle of Blood and The Long Hair of Death in 1964, Nightmare Castle in 1965, The She-Beast and An Angel for Satan in 1966, and finally the British horror film Curse of the Crimson Altar in 1968. Barbara got sick of being typecast in horror movies at this stage of her career. She would marry screenwriter James Poe in America in 1969, and they would attempt to collaborate together. When Poe wrote a role for her in the film They Shoot Horses, Don't They?, it was taken away from Steele and given to actress Suzanne York. Mirroring her frustrations with Hollywood nearly a decade ago, Steele wouldn't act for another 5 years. In 1974, Barbara would return to the big screen in Jonathan Demme's Caged Heat, an exploitation film about women's prisoners being abused by the warden and corrupt prison doctor. Barbara plays the film's villain, the wheelchair-bound Superintendent McQueen. Despite those thinking she was miscast, her performance won positive reviews from the critics in her return. Sadly, she would go on to smaller roles in more iconic horror films of the 70s, like David Cronenberg's Shivers and Joe Dante's Piranha. The Silent Scream would be her final film appearance in the 70s before retiring from acting in the 80s. During this time, she helped produce 2 miniseries, The Winds of War and its sequel, War in Remembrance, for which she earned herself an Emmy Award with Dan Curtis. In 1991, Barbara would work with Dan Curtis once more, playing the character of Dr. Julia Hoffman in the short lived revival of Dark Shadows before retiring once more. It was later in 1997 where she developed the fondness for her horror queen status, thanks to Clive Barker's documentary A to Z of Horror. From 2008 and onward, Barbara Steele would return in several horror anthologies. She drew eyes once more in 2012's The Butterfly Room, an American-Italian horror film. The film was met with mixed reviews, but no doubt we were happy to see her back on the screen. 2 years later, she would take part in a small supporting role in Ryan Gosling's directorial debut film, Lost Rivers. In 2020, she would have a guest appearance in the third season of Netflix's animated horror series Castlevania. There we have it, a 60-plus year career of Barbara Steele, our queen of all scream queens. What is your favorite Barbara Steele film? Drop it down in the comments below, and if you love supporting us, make sure to like and subscribe for more. We'll see you next time.